Hey everyone, we're the Game Birds, and today we are talking about When the Past Was Around. It's me, Alice, and this is Bree. Hi, Bree.
Hello.
And Bree, you picked this game. Why don't you tell me a little bit about it?
I bought this game on the Women's Day sale. There's a lot of really great games on there. Very like 2D, hand-drawn animation style. I guess honestly, to just summarize it very quickly, you are a woman who meets this really great partner who you get along with really well. And you are going through the memories of you and your partner after they pass away. Through each level, it's a different memory of you and your partner. And there are different puzzles to solve. And it's point and click the entire time. The puzzles are kind of varying degrees of difficulty. You just go through their entire life together and dealing with the process of grief and losing a loved one. It's very sad.
It is a sad one. So yeah, this is a point and click story game. It's pretty short. It came out in 2020. I don't know how long it took you to get through the whole thing, but I finished it in under 2 hours.
So it actually did take me closer to 3 to 4 hours, and that was mostly just me picking it up for like a couple minutes here and then like closing it. I'm sure if I like sat there and played the whole game top to bottom, I think it would be about 1 to 2 hours, and it is advertised that way. I will say that. I was just looking at the store page that it is meant to be completed in under 2 hours.
Yeah, they use the word short. They really warn people that this is a short story. It is $8. I know in some previous episodes we've talked about people complaining about the prices of these indie games and them being too short. I didn't see any of the Steam reviews that complained about that for this particular game. Was there anything around the internet complaining about the price for this one that you saw?
I definitely did see a couple negative reviews that did mention that. And I do want to have like just a small disclaimer, just because I know we've mentioned this before. Obviously, everyone's situation is different, and I would never judge anybody if like, you only have $20 to buy games. $8 on an hour experience may not be worth it to you. So completely get that. I definitely did see some complaints about that because I will say, I think on average, most people can complete it in an hour, if not like an hour and a half. It's definitely short, and I don't know how, especially compared to some of the other games we've played, I don't know how high the replayability is on this. And Alice, I believe you are pretty similar in terms of like the achievements that you got for this game. I believe I got most of them on my first playthrough.
Yeah, I got 15 out of 20, and then I went back and got the last 5, and I didn't really have desire to like play the whole game to get the last 5. Like I skipped to the chapters where I was missing them and just like did the one thing I needed to get that achievement versus playing it all the way through again and trying to get it. Because I think you're right. The replayability on this is a little low unless it's like years between. Like maybe if you forgot the story or wanted to experience the art and the music again for the first time in a while, I could see replaying it. But especially right after I finished it, I already remember all the puzzles. I already know every like thing that happens. It doesn't feel that compelling to want to play through again.
Yes, 100%. I think this game, like more than anything, is like an experience. And that's what I saw a lot in like the positive reviews, which I super agree with. This is a story that I think will stick with me. I think the way it was portrayed, because I don't think we mentioned this yet, but there is no dialogue in this game. It is purely through drawings and through music that you get the story of their relationship. I think it's a very impactful game. I think it's very sweet how they convey their relationship. And also just like, I don't think I've ever experienced a game that focuses so heavily on grief and like the multitude of emotions you feel throughout that. Because you do see a bit of her anger. You see a lot of the sadness. You see moving on. For me, it is worth it for that kind of experience, but it is super short. There's no getting around that.
So in the game, you are searching for feathers throughout the level. This immediately made me think, okay, something about memories. This has something to do with memories. Because Tsubasa Reservoir Chronicle is a manga where it's basically Cardcaptor Sakura sort of looking for her memories, which are in feathers. And so I was just like, oh, right, we're just Sakura looking for our memories, right, with our feathers.
Oh, that's funny.
I think that is symbolism outside of obviously just manga, but I immediately was like, okay, death, memories, it's got to be something along those lines immediately from the prologue. I don't know if that was supposed to be secret, but definitely the symbolism was there from the beginning.
Interesting. I love that association because honestly, like my only thought was I was like, oh, well, her partner is an owl. An owl man. So he has
Actually,
feathers.
That's funny because it wasn't until the end where I was like, oh, right, he's an owl. That's also why there's feathers. My brain went straight into the most complex symbolism of the feathers and not just no, he's an owl. He has feathers. So,
it's maybe a dual meaning. I like that. It's multiple interpretations.
I wrote down for the beginning of the game that I keep breaking the plants because I want to click. I wanted to click on stuff, and then I would just end up breaking like a plant pot, and it was kind of making me sad. Like I didn't, like no, I didn't want to break that. I'm sorry.
That is so funny because I'm just like, obviously in a point and click, your inclination is to click on everything. But yeah, in quite a few levels, when you do click on plants or even like the books on the bookshelf, it'll just throw the books on the floor and you're like, oh gosh, I'm sorry. I did not mean to do that.
And I do think it's tied to the emotions you're supposed to be feeling at that time of the story, because I did then realize in a different chapter, oh, when you click on the books, you're putting them away. Like depending on what feeling you have at the time, like am I smashing stuff or am I organizing things?
That is such a great point because there is a later chapter where you are searching for your partner's medication, and the way you take that room apart is a lot more frantic, a lot more chaotic. So when you are like searching for their medication, like it really looks like you are just tossing the books on the ground because you are so just trying to help your partner out. So that's such a good comment. I didn't even realize like that it's mirroring the emotional impact of that moment.
How did you feel about the puzzles?
Full disclosure, and Alice, I'm sure you know this about me, I am not a puzzle person. It's just not the way my brain works at all. If we want to have a bad time, take me to an escape room because I will not be able to solve a single thing. That is just like not the way my brain works. So I was a little intimidated by this game because I was like, oh, I don't even know if I'm going to be able to solve any of these puzzles. So as somebody who's not good at this, these puzzles were very achievable for me. They were like decently challenging. I thought some were easier than others. And in your notes, you mentioned one puzzle in particular, which is also the puzzle I couldn't solve. And it was mentioned a lot in reviews that was the one puzzle that like they could not figure out.
Yes, I got stuck one time on one puzzle. I will say, if you're new to point and click games, it will be more challenging. I think the more point and click games you've played, the less challenging it is because it's very standard point and click puzzles where it's like, oh, like there's a number written on a piece of paper on this side of the room, and then you need to remember to use that number over there. Or like, I've actually never been in an escape room, so I don't know if that's also a similar puzzle type. But I would say like, if it's your first point and click game, it's probably going to be nice and challenging for you. Otherwise, that one puzzle I was so stuck on. And the crazy thing is, because I saw the Steam review where they were talking about the puzzle, and my notes literally say, okay, I couldn't figure out this puzzle. I couldn't get this one. Oh, but I did learn their names are Ida and Owl. And literally to solve that puzzle is you learn their names and you use that to solve the puzzle. So clearly I was putting the right things together, but then still couldn't get it. And I did have to look it up online.
Yeah, that one was very challenging because you have to discover the name, which is written on a sandwich, and then you have to connect it to the popsicle sticks, and then the positioning of the letters on the popsicle sticks is the solution to the puzzle. So I'm just like, it's a couple too many steps for me. So yeah, I'm grateful I looked that up because I would not have figured it out on my own. There was one other puzzle I got stuck on, which is when you're in the cafe. I didn't really connect. I don't know. I think you have to find something in your tea leaves, and then it connects to a different puzzle that connects to a safe. It wasn't super challenging. It was just like there was those two that I just could not figure out. I was able to search them very quickly, though. So most of them were decently challenging, where it's just like a matter of, like you said, putting numbers to shapes and like counting. Most of them were fairly easy to solve.
Apparently, according to my notes, which I don't remember writing this, I had absolutely no trouble with the washing machine puzzle as a woman. So
that was one of the easier ones. I was like, oh, I have to wash this. It's dirty.
I thought most of the puzzles were all right. Near the end is where the type of puzzles I really like started to appear, where you have to do a little bit more movement of pieces. There was one puzzle where you had to slide the blocks over to try to get one block to the other side or reveal the picture underneath or something like that.
Yes.
Like for me, that's my type of puzzle, like where it feels like literally like a puzzle versus finding numbers, the right numbers in a room or finding the right combination of things. And I recognize that those types of puzzles that I like are a little bit harder to design and more complicated, but I prefer a almost like literal puzzle over feels like just a hunting game around the room.
That's super fair. Like you prefer like a little more of like a tactile puzzle. I get that. And it's funny because that one, the one you're mentioning of moving the blocks, it took me a minute, but like I got it. I was getting frustrated, but I was like, I know I can do this. It's not that difficult. So to your point, I think, yeah, if you have experience with point and click, I think this will be a breeze for you. But if you're like me, maybe not super puzzly, it's still accessible. There was just a few ones that like I maybe had to step away from and come back to, but outside of that, I was able to solve all of them.
Why is he an owl? Is that just
That's a great question. I assume it's just a stylistic choice. Granted, we don't interact with too many other characters outside of the main two, but everyone else seems to just be human with human features, where he is the only one that has an owl head and a human body. So, great question. I'm not sure on that.
So I looked up the developer, 10 minutes ago when we were talking, and I think, did I write this down? They're from Indonesia, I believe.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
I wonder if maybe I'm just a dumb white girl who doesn't know the symbolism or something like that. Like if owls are significant, or if it's, just a stylistic art choice. This is me saying, I don't know. Somebody tell me, please.
It's so funny because I really didn't question that, but that is an excellent point, especially comparatively, because we don't really see too many other characters in this outside of a couple pictures. Yeah, I think everyone else is very human. Although while we're talking about it, how did you like the art style and the art direction?
I thought it was beautiful. I thought the art was absolutely beautiful. You can really see the emotions in everything and really feel that. I think also with having not a lot of characters, that helps to really feel that emotion too. You're not distracted by a lot. There's just, here's these few scenes and these few people, and this is all you have to care about. And yeah, in general, the art style reminded me of not quite manga, not quite anime in that sense, but still like a very whimsical style in that way.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think it's very beautiful, very like almost storybook-esque, and very soft color palette all around. And I think paired with the music as well, because I think that those are like the main two selling points of this, the art style and also the music that kind of goes with everything. I was just replaying the first part of this game, and it is like very jarring, like purposefully. When you first start the game and you're just met with this shadowed figure in a cage, and you're just kind of piecing together what your partner looks like. And you're very, very happy in that moment when he's playing music for you. And then you grab the violin and the music just like halts. It just kind of crashes down. There's a bunch of flashing lights. And then the next scene, you are in a graveyard. The way they use colors and music is it's very impactful. It really, again, just touches on these themes of grief and the emotional impact of all of ththese moments.
I think storybook is the right term to use for sure. This is a little interactive storybook itself, and a very tear-jerking storybook at that. I think the art's beautiful. Absolutely great job on that front. I think the only thing that slightly bothered me in the beginning, I did get used to it, is I think the outline of the game shakes the entire time, sort of like in a sketchbook style and a little bit, just like the borders. My eyeballs weren't a super fan of that. It's not the same as if it was a flashing screen, then I would be really freaking annoyed. But yeah. I don't love like quick background movements like that. I don't think this gave me a headache, but I think I was a little bit bothered by it. I'll have to look and see if it does it the whole time, but I either got used to it pretty quickly or it's only at certain parts.
Maybe I got used to it too, but I do see what you're saying, that can be a little distracting. But I think, I guess it's just playing into like the kind of sketchy style of the aesthetic in general. But yeah, I could see how that could be frustrating for some people. Did you cry? Did you cry at the end?
I didn't cry, but I'm just such a callous bitch, so did you cry?
I cried a lot. Yeah,
Aww.
I will say I'm a crybaby though, but also I just thought this story was just very sweet. And like, I feel like we've played 2 games now with very little dialogue and a lot of environmental storytelling. And I'm realizing that like you can tell so much of a story without all of that. Dialogue can sometimes bog things down so much, where it's like you just get to kind of experience the story like as it's intended. Just the relationship of these two and how close they were and how sweet they were together, and just the jarring aspect of losing this person so suddenly. I feel like the game just put through all those emotions so beautifully and like so tenderly. It's just stunning. It made me very emotional, but in a good way. I think overall this game is worth the experience for me, just because it made me feel a lot of things.
Yes, and I definitely I promise you I felt emotions, even though I didn't cry, especially when looking for things like the medication or there being emergencies. Like those parts really did jerk at my heart. I think, unfortunately, as a cynical person, in the beginning where it's like, oh, we're falling in love and it's cute, I'm like, whatever. whatever, love, okay. But trying to set my cynicism aside, like, it's a really cute story that, like, the emotions are very warranted and feel very real. And you're right. Like, you do not need dialogue to get that across. And it helps you really experience that. Feel like you're experiencing it more firsthand than if you were, like, reading text.
Who do you think should play this game / shouldn't play this game?
I think that this game, it's very simple and straightforward, right? Like, it's a quick story, pretty art, not too difficult of puzzles, won't take very long, right? So honestly, if you're the kind of person who likes a good short story and likes to have an interactive version of that, like you said, the puzzles aren't that hard. So if you like puzzles, you'll get something out of it. If you are not a huge puzzle person, you probably won't have too much difficulty either. So really, anyone looking for a chill story time should like this story. I guess if you are someone looking for more of a challenge, or maybe if you really hate love, you know, you're like, ugh, love is so gross. Maybe this game isn't for you. But it's a cute, quick, simple, beautiful art game. Can't possibly not recommend it to anybody. What do you think?
I feel pretty similarly. I think if you go in this with the full expectation that it is going to be a short experience, it's going to be an emotional experience, then I think you're going to be just fine. Like you said, the puzzles are, I think, challenging enough for somebody who may be used to puzzles. But again, for somebody like me who's not used to puzzles, who's not used to point and click, this was still very accessible for me. Obviously, the price point is something to be aware of. I did get this game on sale. I think it might have been 50% off. I think I only paid about $4 for it, maybe like $4.99. And for me, like, again, the experience is worth the money every time. Like, this is a game that'll stick with me. Replayability is not super high, but again, I could see me revisiting this like once a year, maybe once every 6 months, something like that. So I don't think it's like that I'll never touch it again, especially I didn't get all the achievements, so I'm going to do that. But I will say also, this is an emotional game. It deals with some heavy topics of grief and loss and moving on. So if you're not in the emotional headspace for that, probably not the game for you, because it deals with a lot of that. And it is, again, made me cry. I think that's what I'd say overall. Just, it's short, it's simple, it's good.
I know we spend way too much time talking about the price, but I actually think when I looked at it on Android Play Store, because this is available for PC and consoles and your mobile phone, like you can, whatever you use, but I'm pretty sure I saw it was free on the Google Play Store. At least to download it and try it on Android, it is free. And there is a demo on Steam as well. If you're unsure, you can try it out and just not purchase it if you don't want to continue.
Yes. Oh, I forgot about the demo. That's such a good point, because I think the demo is it's going to give you a great precursor to everything that is in the game. So if you don't like the demo, I don't think you'd like the game. So yeah, if you're not sure, definitely try the demo. I think it's more than worth it, but just go in knowing it's a kind of a heavy topic, but the game's beautiful. The music is beautiful. I think it's worth it just for the experience alone.
Before we wrap up, Brie, why did you even pick this game?
Art style is what really drew me in. Like, seeing the store page, I just it just seemed really pretty. I think given the name, I knew it was going to be sad. I don't know exactly what drew me to it, but I would say, like, generally speaking, it was definitely just like the art style and wanting to try something new, because point and click is not something I'm used to at all, except maybe back in like my, I don't know, Windows 95 kind of day. I don't feel like I've played anything recently that was point and click. It's kind of fun to see this genre alive and well, because I feel like this was more popular way back when. So I'm happy that it's still kicking. And yeah, I'm grateful that I bought it, because I thought it was a really good experience. And like I said, I'm going to go back and get the rest of those achievements now.
Great cozy pick, Brie. Love it. Even though I probably won't go back and play it for a while, since I 100% chivoed it. Nice. I would definitely be open to checking it out after I inevitably forget everything that happened. Well, thanks, Brie.
Thank you. Do you know what we're going to do for next time?
I don't. Let's discuss after we get off of this recording, and we'll see. And it'll be a surprise for all of y'all.
Yeah. Bye.